please subscribe, please hit like, and welcome to my channel. I apologize ahead of time for my long guitar fingernails. I've got to play guitar later on to keep practice, and the other fingernails are just long because I'm lazy. So we have a Waltham pocket watch here, and this is a pocket watch that's in the hunter position. You know it's in the hunter position because the 12 o'clock is right here, and the crown is on 90 degrees from the 12 o'clock. And it's got a beautiful case. This thing looks like it's never been worn. This is a gold-filled case. We'll look at to see what kind of gold-filled case this is. But this watch is not working, and I'm going to call this the Billy watch because it's my friend Billy who gave this to me and said, "Hey, JD, any chance you can get this thing going again?" It does not say what this case is, so there's no indication on the front. Let's look in the back and see if there's any indication here. And again, the long fingernails are so good for opening up the case backs if this works. If it doesn't work, then it's no good. So there we go. This is stiff as heck. Now this one here, I don't think I want to open that with my fingernail. I want to switch to something a little more appropriate. I'll get my glasses out, as I've done before and described to you before. These are custom made glasses. The lower lens is a 3 times, I think, times 3, and the upper lens is a reading lens, and I need a reading lens is about 1.5 for me for reading. And then I've got the Airy loop. So this is ARY loop, beautiful loop. It swings up like that, and there you go. Oh, there's the inside of my glasses. The glasses cost around $700, so they weren't cheap. But this is the Airy loop. It'll run you about $150 for this loop. And you get it, and then you conform it. You attach it to the glasses like this, and it just conforms to the glasses. It's a beautiful, beautiful setup. I saw a Swiss watchmaker on a video years ago wearing this thing, and I thought, he was working for Rolex, I believe, and I thought, I need to get me one of these Airy loops, right? I don't think my life would be complete without an Airy loop. So I've got a bunch of case openers. This is a kind of a medium end case back opener here, but I've got a high-end Bergeron case back opener. Let me show you that because I'm in a chatty position today, or I'm talking a lot. Let's see, where is that case back opener? Where is it? Oh my God, it looks like it's disappeared. It's somewhere, and I can't show it to you because I don't know where the heck it is. I know where I usually keep it. I'm looking over there now, and it's not where I usually keep it. So did it do a dive, or did I store it in a nice other location? Don't know. But while I'm over here, I'm going to grab, I'm talking away here, I'm going to grab my Bergeron, there we go, 5395, which is a great pad. It's a gel-filled pad, and it's excellent for holding stuff. So I've also got a glove that's at the ready. I'm going to put that on. And what else do I have? I think that's it. I'll have to find that case opener. I think I stored it away so it's nice and well protected. This is what I do sometimes, and I don't know where the hell it is. So you want to be very careful opening this up, and you get your opener like this, and you just kind of twist it a little bit, and it'll crack it open. So it's not a high-end movement, but I think it's stuck in the non-working position. As you can see, a few things. I just opened this up, and I just saw there is a case screw missing. So that's one thing that's wrong with it. And I'm sure there's many more. So that's the start of the dilemma. I said dilemma, but I meant adventure. So that's the start of the adventure. So I got to get some screwdrivers out, and let's start the disassembly of this watch. Because I think I'll make the watch video. This one here is maybe disassembly and then reassembly, or I'm not sure whether I'll do 2 videos or 1. So I've got to get the right screwdriver. I'm going to use a gray screwdriver this time. And I got to adjust my chair. I don't have a watchmaker's bench, so this screw is also a half screw, so you can turn it like that. And I'm going to have to go screw hunting after, so I want to take the movement out first. So what I do is we close that back again, and then open the case, and to be very careful because this little hook here hooks the edge of the case, so it's hooking right on the edge there. And I do have a device that can be used to bend that in a little bit if it's not hooking well. So, and on these watches are a little trickier because they've got a bezel on the inside here. This is the bezel, and I'm looking for the opening of the bezel. It's right there. And the opening of the bezel, it should just snap open. Now I can tell whether this watch, the crystal is plastic or, ooh, you know what? It feels like a glass crystal, so I gotta be very careful because if I twist this the wrong way, the crystal could pop. So this might not be able to get in there. And if it can't get in there, what I'll do is I'll use a big screwdriver and I'll just rotate that. Because I don't want this to get ruined. Ruined, I tell you. There we go. So you just take the screwdriver blade, you put it in the slot and rotate it very carefully. I'm going to put gloves on soon. Because this is a glass crystal. I'm 99% sure it's glass. It's vintage and it's a glass crystal, so you don't want to crack that crystal. You put that out away and protect it. This is not a high-end movement, so you should set the hands first and take the hands off before you take the movement out. That way the hands are protected. I'm just moving this around to the 12 o'clock position so I can just use my grabbers and then just take it out with my grabbers. So get my grabbers out here and I'll lay a piece of plastic on top of that. I usually have that plastic reachable from my desk. Where are you, plastic? Somebody grabbed it. It's no longer there. Just gonna look over the top and see if it's there. No, it's not. Damn, I'm missing my little piece of plastic. So I gotta use plan B, I guess. What is plan B? Plan B could be version 69, 38. These are jobby doohickeys for protecting the face. So I'll just move that around. It's funny when you got your area loop down and you look onto your work, you can get lost. So I just have to lay that down like this. Now I've got huge hand removers, right? And I could probably take it from an angle like that. I want to make sure that second hand is out of the way. There we go. So the hands, those hands are removed, and the second hand I can use. I have a smaller hand removers that are like this. I think these are my original hand removers. Hand manure. Now the thing is with this watch, because I don't have a case back, I can't put the parts somewhere nice and out of the way. Now you see how that minute hand disappeared? Where is it? It's right here. It's like a David Blaine thing just happened. So I'm going to put that over where the crystal is. And I got the crystal laying on a black watch bag, and that keeps that crystal safe. And I'm going to get in dirty here to make sure there's no pivot bending as you lift this up. And this is so light I don't have to worry about it. Here we go. And I just take this second hand and put it over with the rest of the stuff, right? And of course I just dropped it here, so let me pick that up again. There we go. So, and I've got this stuff just sitting on top of the crystal. Like that. I'll put that away later. So now I've got the faces kind of free, and I have got a little bit of, let me see, of Rodico, because while I've got this face sticking out here nicely, I can just clean it up just a little tiny bit with Rodico. And this face has 3 cracks on it. So 3 horizontal cracks. They're going from left to right if I'm looking at the name Waltham, and I am. Now in this case, put away the hand removers. In this case I will end up oiling the hinge on this case here, and I'll use a thicker oil for that. and that's so it runs smoothly. Now when I close this like that, what do I want to do? I want to drop this watch out from the back. So what I'm going to do is put my glove on, right? Put your glove on, boy. Put your glove on. There, I just Bugs Bunny the glove. If you don't get what that means, you never watched Bugs Bunny. All right. Get my airy loop out of the way because I want to turn this around and then open it up. Fingernails are handy for picking at stuff and opening stuff up. They do a good job that way. So this is already in the out position like that. So the movement should just drop right out onto your glove. And I take this here and move this aside. We'll clean that up later. I don't like putting that in an ultrasonic cleaner to clean that up, but what I want to do is remove, because now I can put some of these watch parts in the case itself, right? So I can just pick up the few parts I've taken off so far, like the seconds hand. Come on. Seconds hand, the hour hand, and the minute hand. When I pick these hands up using my tweezers, I've almost used so little force that the tweezers, I don't want to ruin the hand or break the hand or whatever, so I pick it up super carefully, like super light feel on the end of your tweezers. I could be able to pick a fly hair off a piece of lint. There you go. How's that for light? So now I can put the crystal over the top. So now I've got, that's the crystal on the top, and underneath that is the 3 watch hands. So that's out of the way, and now I've got this kind of configuration. But I want to, before I get at this watch, I want to do 2 things. First thing is remove this screw from the plate, and very carefully. And like as I said before, I lean the watch sideways, so usually if you slip the screwdriver, it just falls off the end. And you turn the screw until you hear it tick, and then it's free from the watch. If it's not free, you can just turn it ever so slightly like that and pull it out. So I'm going to put the screw on the other side, so that's that. And I think I want to take out the face now, and I might be able to use a black screwdriver to do that. So let me get in deep and dirty here. Let's see if that's too big or too small. No, that's the perfect size. So I will just loosen these up. They might fall down onto the pad here, but if I spun them out too much. And if I didn't, then we're good. Then they're out of the way. And I just have to remove the third one here. And this is for my buddy Billy, who I've known since grade 4. So Billy and I met in grade 4, and we're best of friends for many years growing up. And now he works in the world of simulation. So I'm trying to find a groove here where I can lift this thing up, or poke it up. Sometimes there's a bottom, like a thing here, where you can poke that up with a needle. Let me have a look and see if my needle will do that. And that is it's accessing the face. Is that going to do that? I think not. That's not working. Oh, there's a groove there. You always got to find your groove. Daddy's got his groove. Isn't that what they say? So there we go. So let me just put there we go. I knew there was a groove somewhere. And that is a groovy groove. And what you do is you use your fingers to maintain the gap. I've said this before, when you're doing this, is that it's like a break in cards. You want to use your fingers to maintain the gap, because if you don't, then the other side goes down again. And you're playing this rock and roll thing back and forth until you get the face off. And it did it to me again. So you just keep very quietly working at it. Come on. Come on up. Got to free all the legs nice and even. If you free only 2 legs and you pull up, you could bend one of the legs here. I did make a video, by the way, on how to solder these legs on, because I had to do some leg soldering a while back. And so I'm going to put this over here, and now it's important to screw those screws back in. So memory and watch work is a really good thing. So you got to remember to take these small dial screws and then screw them back in, and just make them snug. You don't have to tighten them up a lot because there's not a lot of force on them to make them move the other way. So you see, am I going to get some kind of a Focus someday? What did I used to say? Focus is not just a shitty car. Ha ha ha. Oh my God. And let me just screw this one in. Somebody trying to get a hold of me. Every time I hear biddy-biddy, it's probably one of my buddies saying, hey, I want to play. I want to go play. So now I have to take I need to remove, before I do this, I want to remove the cannon pinion if I can. So I'll put this back in here and move this back. So first take out the hour wheel, and if you notice, I'm going to have to put in a dial washer. There's no dial washer for the hour wheel, and that holds the wheel down. That's a really good thing to do. And then the cannon pinion should just lift straight up. There we go. Sometimes these things are on. I've found with British watches, this is what a cannon pinion looks like. With British watches, these things are on really tight. Again, I'm holding it very loose, so I'm not squeezing the cannon pinion at all. Because if you do that, you're going to break it. So the other thing you take out is the minute wheel here. And that's the minute wheel up close there. So just a word of note here is that tonight I'm going to be doing a video. It's going to be a live blog. So keep an eye out, by the way, for where is it? There it is there. That's the pivot, this here. This little jobby doohickey, right? Is this going to focus for me? So right here is the pivot of the fourth wheel, and that can get, if you put the watch down in a certain direction, it can get broken. Luckily, the center wheel is higher, and if you put the watch down, probably the center wheel and the watch edge and stuff make a triangle. And if I look closely, yeah, it does actually. So the triangle made by the watch, the center wheel and the edge of the watch protect that particular pivot. But anyway, I just keep away from it, right? Stay away from the pivot. So now I've got that off, and I can use my Myers, and I know you're saying it with me. Number 58 movement holder. Myers number 58 movement holder. The world's best movement holder. So there it is there. You can tighten it up like that. The movement holder has got a button on this side, so you can undo that. And these two claws on the top are removable. So you can just remove them and put in smaller ones if you need to. But this is the right size for this watch. Now, take my screwdriver, yeah. And what I want to do is I get, again, my Bergeron, what's the number on this baby? There it is, 7010 stick. Polymide probably. It's not made by some dude named Polly, so it's probably a polymide stick. And I just hold the balance cock down just a bit, because when I take this off, I'd rather not have the pivot, the jewel, the upper jewel for the balance interacting with the jewel, with the pivot, the balance pivot, and might cause a significant or severe problem. So there's that. I'm going to pull out this particular balance tack and put the screw right here. See? Screw just right there, a little piece of Rodico. That way I know where it is. And now when I take the balance out, if I'm lucky, I can just grab it and tilt it. It's not wanting to come out, so don't force it. Put it back in. Never force anything. You don't want to screw up the hairspring. And you don't want the balance to fall off. That'd be disaster. So what I do here is I grab another pair of tweezers, and I should be able to release the balance from from where it sits. There we go. So that's out now. That's out. I have another balance tack that's even better, but for now I'll put it on this one. And I want to put it on the other balance tack that rests the balance. So I'll just put it here for a few seconds, and then I can go get that other balance tack. Right. This one here will also rest the balance, but it's way up. Right. So I think I'll have to grab this. If I look at what I'm doing here, I'll grab this and then pull it out of the way, and then rock this thing up really high, and then move it so it's closer. Go this way, like this. So the tack actually moves closer. Do some general measurement. That's not bad. General measurement. I served under him in the military. General measurement. My God, my humor is really shitty. Now I had a little piece of material that I could put down on that. As you can see, I cut it out from this, but obviously I don't have it right now. Where is it? Oh, maybe I do. There it is. So it was over on the side. There it is there. So I can lay that down. I glued that down a while back, and then it unglued on me. So that might be, there's my, gotta watch that screw doesn't disappear. That might be too high. If I put this down like that, I think that's too high. So I'm going to screw that down a bit. I'm going to have to re-glue this. I'm going to re-glue this on top of here, and that way it just stays in the center. So let me grab the balance really carefully and then lower it onto the tack. And is it going to go low enough? I'm measuring it again. I think I should be a little closer. Like that. There we go. And there it is resting. So the balance staff is poking through the hole there, and it's resting on this faux leather. So this is just a little leather pad. I'm pretty anal. I don't know if any other watchmakers are this bad. But I put it on there, and that way it stays, it doesn't stretch the hairspring that much. Although the weight of the balance is not going to actually stretch the hairspring. But if you get it caught on something while you're moving it around, and it could stretch the hairspring, and then you've got a whole other problem with the watch. So you don't want that to happen. So now I take this and I put it away, but I want to make sure that it's safe. So I'm going to grab one of these to put on top. I think that is just a bit too big to put on top. I need my other, I think I need my other watch holder thing. I'm reaching way up right now, and shit's gonna fall on the floor. I know it is. I know it. I know it. I wrote it. So if I get this out and then put this in here like that, it gives me a little extra height, I think, and then I'm fine. There, so that fits. There it is in the top of the video, nice and safe now. And I grab these other containers. I got a ton of these containers, by the way. I think I have 15, maybe 20. No, I don't have 20. I probably have 15 of these things. So sometimes I've got a lot of watches on the go. If you're watching this video right now and actually you have a watch for me to work on, no issue. I did, I think, 7 last week, and I'm down to this as the last one. And then after this, I don't think I have any more customer watches left. I do have some of my own I'd like to work on, but I don't have any customer watches. So the heat is off, right? Because before the heat was on. I shipped some watches. I think Phil's getting his watch in the mail sometime next week in the US. Thank you, Phil. And then I have got a watch I sent to Mr. Bauman, and he's getting his watch soon, and it's in the mail. And then I had a gentleman, Dave, who showed up at my house to pick up his watch yesterday, and that was the one that was with the wind indicator. And I'll just pause a few seconds while you try to figure out what the hell I just said. It's not a wind indicator, but wind and wind are spelt exactly the same. And I don't know who thought that up. So it's like in French. I learned from a friend of mine that when you say le and la, it depends on how it feels. Someone says, like mustache in French is moustache. So if I were to say, is it le moustache or la moustache? Well, turns out, and la is female, it turns out that mustache is female. It's la moustache because it rolls off your tongue nicely. And he said that's the rule. If it rolls off your tongue, then it works. So, but I didn't know that. I never knew that. It was like crazy. I learned les and laws in one day from him, and he said, just use this from now on and you'll never be wrong. He tried me out on 10 of them and different objects like chemise and stuff like that, and I got every one of them, except now I don't remember if chemise is le or la. La chemise. Le chemise. No, it's got to be la. La chemise sounds right. Because it feels good. It doesn't feel like you're working hard when you're saying it. These screws are super loose, which is interesting. I never figure out how these things can loosen up over the years, right? So I think this was Billy's dad's watch, and so it's a kind of a pleasure for me working on this because it's a very old pocket watch. Thank goodness it's not a full plate, because I would have taken a hissy fit if it was a full plate. No, don't drop the thing. There's the plate there. So I'll go through the wash machine. I'll be scrubbing this thing up big time. And like I did last time, I don't know if I'll take out the works here, this stuff, because I found that the cleaning machine gets in there and cleans everything, and then it dries nicely. And then I oil it nicely, and I don't have to worry about breaking any of the setting mechanisms. If I'm doing your watch and you want me to clean the setting mechanisms as well, I will do it. But I have a sneaky suspicion when Billy asks me how much to do his watch, I'll end up saying nothing, don't worry about it, because he's a very old friend of mine, and so I don't mind him screwing up my whole afternoon. I'm just kidding. If you're listening, Billy, it's not screwing up my afternoon. It's raining out right now. It's a crappy day. Crappy day. Happy crappy. So I'm just disassembling all this, and I usually take a picture of this, even though I'm so used to disassembling these watches I shouldn't bother, but I'm gonna anyway. Gonna is going to. It's slang for going to. Yeah. Now I had this, hopefully Phil's watching my video today, because let me just stop and start again. Well, I had a long talk with Phil, and I won't use his last name, but he knows who he is, obviously. And look at that. This thing is jammed in there. Let's just see if I can loosen this up with my fingers at all. You know why it's jammed in there? I think it's jammed in there because I forgot to take the pressure off of the mainspring. So that's a big mistake. So what I'm going to do here is very quietly reassemble this and then take the pressure off the mainspring. That was not a very good thing to do. So too much talking and not enough concentrating. So I should be able to put this back really quickly and then take the pressure off the mainspring. That's why there's pressure on that center wheel. So that could have been a mistake, disaster. I've never done that before. Maybe I should shut up and concentrate, right? So I think I've saved it now. So you don't want the mainspring barrel spinning out like it's got issues. I just screw this down. I don't need it to be super tight because it's not going to be in there very long. Screw this one down. And then I'm going to throw the other plate back on too if I can. Hopefully it lines up. I don't know if it will. I'm just praying that it does. Otherwise I got other problems. Yeah, I don't know if anyone's ever done that before, what I just did, but not a smart plan. So I might have been able to take out the escapement here, but there's pressure on it right now, I think. wheels are kind of all sideways because there's pressure on the wheels. I think I'll disappear and then redo this and then come back. I got to make sure that this all lines up perfectly. And then I can take pressure off the mainspring. So I'll be back. I will be back. I'll be back. So I'm going to record this anyway, but on this watch here, there's a little hole right here, and this hole releases the mechanism that holds the mainspring in place. So I noticed that if I just press down on this, the pressure on the mainspring is released. If I've got a bench key in here and I'm just doing that, right? So it's almost completely released right now, and pressure is going to be off in 2 seconds. Get this pressure off this watch. Come on, mainspring. And then once I get this off, now I can take the plates off without a problem. So that's done, and now put this back in its nice little home here. You need Bergeron number 58 movement holder. So anyway, I screwed up there, and I just showed you the screw up. So, and I don't think there's any harm that happened. So I screwed this one down just temporarily so I could get it out of the way, and then I could lift the plates up again. So, and if I look at the pivots and everything is fine. Yeah, there's no problems at all, which is good. If there was a problem, it'd be my responsibility to fix it, and I would have to go and find another plate or a scrap movement or something to replace things, right? Because it was my mistake. My mistake. It's all doable, but it wasn't a super bad mistake. It was a mild mistake. Had I tried to, I tried to remove that center wheel like I started to do. I was pulling up on it a bit and it wasn't moving. I'm like thinking, why is this not moving? And then I realized that there's pressure on it from the mainspring. That's why. Just pull that out like that. And then if I take a picture down here too, because I know that goes in like that, that's fine. And then I can remove this wheel here, and there's a click spring right there that holds that in place, which is good. I'll check those screws, but so these are the things I don't like to disassemble, because you can break that click spring and then you're screwed. Then you will have to find another one or make another one. And I've made things out of guitar strings actually that work really well for stuff like that. So we just grab the escapement here and put that out of the way. And of course, this is a small watch, right? I always get the small ones. And again, I'm doing this because it's a friend of mine, right? If it wasn't a friend, I likely wouldn't be doing this. So I'll take this one out here. This is for the pallet fork, and then the pallet fork, I'm going to hold that down with my stick here while I take the other one out, because I don't want the pallet fork to jump up. I'm looking down and I can't really see much of a pivot from the pallet fork showing up through the hole. So that's kind of interesting, which means that it's not a very deep pallet fork. And I'll just lift this up here carefully. Let me have to wedge that up somehow. Let's get in here like this. Move that out of the way, and then grab it. Grab it. Yeah, it's a pretty deep hole, but still, I could not see any part of the pallet fork sticking out through the hole. That pivot looks good, which is nice. You don't want a screwed up pallet fork pivot. So this again, do I take all this apart? I don't think I want to. I remember last time I did. It's a lot of work, and it's very difficult to get back in, and there's springs like the spring here, which is super difficult to get back into position. So I could strip it all down, but I know I can wash it, and the washing and the drying will dry all that out, and then I can oil that up. So that, and the only reason again is that if one of these springs breaks, then I'm in trouble. I used to disassemble this. In my old videos you'll see I disassembled every one of those, and it's hours of work to disassemble it, and you're saying, okay, why am I doing this? It does not affect the actual performance of the movement, which is interesting because it's all it is the winding mechanisms, right? So now I got to pack this stuff in my cleaning baskets, and go stretch my leg out because it's kind of sore right now. The bad hip again is coming into play. And I am going to, let me think, I'm going to take my glove off here, and I'm going to stack this in, and you'll see that I want to, though, take the mainspring out here, because I do want to clean this old mainspring. And I can grab it with my fingers because I know that it's going into the wash machine. And I'm going to take a picture of the back end of this because that's the square part of the mainspring that is going to that fits into the gear that's below that holds the mainspring in place. So anyway, how is this thing put in? These are one of these wind your out mainsprings. Anyway, I don't need to videotape this, I think, because it's going to take me a while to figure out. Yeah, this goes, I think you unscrew it like that, and then the mainspring sits in like this. So what I'm going to do is take a picture, because the mainspring arbor is actually, the arbor here is actually attached to the plate. So these are a pain in the butt. Whoever designed this was cruel and not a nice person. So I've got the mainspring here, and what I want to do, because this watch is pretty much, I don't think it's ever been cleaned, is I want to walk that mainspring out very carefully. And this is, again, having fingernails that are long is so handy when you're doing this stuff. There we go. So I got one fingernail, a long thumbnail under there. And the problem is that I work in the professional world, so if you're in meetings and you're shaking hands with people and you've got a long thumbnail, how do you describe what you're doing? Like, why is that thumbnail long? So, don't know. So somebody said if the mainspring is bigger than the movement sides, then you don't have to replace it. It's not set. So that's an interesting thing, right? Now, does this have a hook or what? How is this hooked in here? It is, yeah, there's a hook on this mainspring. So I have to slide it out of the hook, because it looks like it's stuck in there. Yeah, that's interesting. That's actually hooked in there. And I don't want to break the hook. So if I push it, is it going to come out? I don't know. Let me see. I'm trying to look at this thing and see why is it being so stubborn. Yeah, it's hooked in there. So if I just take this, I'm hoping it's on camera, but if I take this and just rotate it up, I think it might unhook it. Yeah, there we go. It's unhooked. And the barrel hook looks like it's fine. So I'll show you what the barrel hook looks like. There's the barrel hook. Right there. See that little tiny hook there? Right there. That's the barrel hook right there. So you got to make sure that that barrel hook does not bend, because then you have to make a new barrel hook. Now, is the spring bigger than the movement? Oh my God. It's I would say ever so slightly. So now, do I have to clean this main, or do I have to replace the mainspring on this? I don't know. I can build the watch up again and check the amplitude and see whether it makes a big difference. You can also stretch the mainspring out once, like that, and that just increases it. And I think you can do it once, but what I'll do is I'll wait till I clean it, and then I'll stretch it out again, right? So, and I can put these parts in the basket of life. Throw the mainspring in there. If I can grab a hold of it. It wants to do a slinky thing. Anyway, I've got some grandchildren, like a whole boatload of them, and they discovered the yo-yo the other day. So, and they're like, "This is so cool." I'm like, "Really? It's amazing. What is this thing you call a yo-yo?" So, and we know when we were kids, we had nothing. All we had was a yo-yo. They've got all kinds of crap nowadays. They got video games and tablets and all kinds of distractions. We had a yo-yo, air guns, so we go outside and shoot at each other with an air gun. We're lucky we didn't lose all of our eyes. I mean, that's why we have two eyes, by the way. One of them is a backup eye for stupid kids who shoot at each other's faces with air guns. So that's a backup eye. It's a hot standby if you're in the world of maintenance or aircraft systems. That's a hot standby eyeball. So yeah, we had anyway. We had air guns, and that was it. I'm just putting the escapement in here, and I might just put escapement. Not sure if I want to put anything else in here because I want to isolate the parts. So let's just leave the escapement in here. I don't want it to hit anything else as it's rotating in the wash machine, so it's safer on its own. Anyway, we used to stick the air gun into the mud, and then we'd shoot the mud at each other. So I was like, oh yeah, this is turning into an air gun that's actually not just shooting air at us, it's shooting all kinds of crap, right? So I think I can put these two gears in together. And I put the fourth wheel pivot up on this so I don't have any issues. And try to balance it out from a weight perspective, even though it's so small that it shouldn't make a difference. Anyway, that was what we did. And I think my brother got a scar under his eyeball because his buddy was running around the corner with his air gun up to his head, and he shot him with the air gun, and the result was that the bullet, the mud got him. So let me put that in there, and and that's the end of my story. So this last piece here, I'm gonna put the bridge, because it has two screws. It's called a bridge. That's the bridge, and that's for the pallet fork. And this is the ratchet wheel, right, for the. I just noticed is I got a groove on this side and nothing on this side, but I believe it goes down like that. But this is the ratchet wheel for the mainspring. So the mainspring. Now I don't throw the pallet fork in there because it's got stuff attached to it. So this goes in like this. Now if I'm lucky, the plates will fit into here. Am I going to be able to fit the plates in there? I think I'll fit one plate in there, but not both, because it's a pretty small movement. So I don't think this will fit in by itself without causing issues. Yeah, no, we're going to put this plate in with the bottom one here, so it can easily go in here, and then I can move the mainspring out of the way, or leave it where it is, not sure. Just lift it up here and then let that plate fall down. So now I've got the plate into the bottom tray, and then the upper tray, I think I can put this in the upper tray. It's probably going to fling around in a circle, but I don't have much more, which is great. So throw that down here. Yeah, you know what? I might just take out the going to take out the mainspring and put it on the opposite side of where I trade the other thing, because I'd rather have a little bit of counterweight on there when it's spinning. So it's all about the math, right? All about the bass, no treble. That's a good song, by the way. So there we go. And this goes on in like this. Grab it from the center, place it down, and then this here has got little perforations on the edges here, so I turn it so that the smooth part faces down, that way parts can't jump out. And then push that down and then have a look at it on all sides, and she's ready to go. And my cleaning machine is in my basement, so I put it in a box, and this was a charger box for a cell phone, so just put that in the box, like that, and we are ready to go. I got a bunch of screws sitting around here, but I'm not worried about those either. Not worried, I tell you. So I'm just going to move the screws over here, and you know what? I forgot. I'm going to actually throw in, as opposed to throw up, the cannon pinion. And very careful with this. I'm going to throw in the cannon pinion in the center wheel and the middle wheel. I forgot those. So I got to open this up again. Now, did you guys get that I forgot that? Or did you notice? Or did you not notice? Question. 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 Answer. I had a friend that used to say that all the time. He'd go, question. I go, what? What's the question? Just see if I can get this out. There we go. And now I can just take these parts and make sure that that's fairly flat. And I'm going to put this in the center one, put this in the other side, and I'm going to put the cannon pinion in there too. It's not going to go anywhere. Those holes are too small. The holes are too, well, more impressions I think, eh? The holes, you know, you're starting to piss me off. The holes are too small. Anyway, put that back in there in the Go Green box. And now it's all ready to be cleaned in the wireless charger box. So I'm going to go down to my cleaning station, clean that up. So there you go. That's the disassembly and a little bit of a chat of this old Waltham pocket watch. This pocket watch is likely, it looks like it's probably from the late 1800s. I'm thinking. I'll have to look at the serial number later and see how close I am. But it looks like an 1890 something. So it's very possible. And put some of my parts away and my tools so I don't step on stuff. So there we go. And we'll get the balance cleaned up after I clean up the rest of it. So thanks a lot. That's JD, and thanks for watching my video. And I'll catch you next time. Please subscribe, please hit like, and please comment on my videos. Thanks a lot. And sorry about the screw up, but I end up recovering nicely.